Okay, welcome everybody to the second video in the post for how to set up your OBS and Twitch. I'm Tom Traplin of Manaverse Saga, and I'm going to be showing you how to get your OBS Open Broadcast software settings started and ready to go so you can start streaming right away. So right now we're looking at my OBS recording, and this is the screen that'll come up the first time you open the program. And what you'll be seeing is something a little bit different. This screen will be black. These will be empty. There won't be anything in these boxes here because you won't have anything going on initially. What we're going to be talking about are some of these options on this side. So in this case, we're going to be talking about the settings. So we're going to click on the settings, and we're going to dive in and get started real quick. So first thing you'll see is general, and you don't have to do anything here unless your language is anything other than English. So we're just going to skip right next to stream, and this is where you get to put in you get to decide which streaming service we're going to be using. So for the purpose of this tutorial, we're doing Twitch, because Twitch is awesome. And so this is where you get to pick which service it is. And you do have a couple other options other than Twitch, but we're going to be dealing with Twitch today. You choose the server that is closest to your location. That's to basically reduce the ping and the lag on your stream. So stream key. Now this is what you need in order to stream to Twitch at all. So I'll show you how to get your stream key or where to find that specifically. So we'll go to the profile that I set up in the previous video. This is what you'll see once you've created your account. You see your profile. So to get to your stream key, you go to your dashboard on the side here. And then it'll show you your dashboard. It's currently empty. There's nothing here, obviously, because it's brand new. But this option over here is what we want, stream key. And then you'll see a page that says some broadcasting applications require your stream key, which is what we're talking about now with OBS. And you'll see a button that says show key. And I'm not actually going to click on it because showing your stream key on video is a terrible idea. Don't ever do that. But if you click on this button, it'll create a little pop-up that'll show up. And then you can just copy and paste the stream key into the settings. So that's how you figure out your stream key. You copy here, you click apply, and then what'll happen is that will be saved into your settings in OBS so that when you click that start streaming button, it'll automatically start streaming to your Twitch channel without you having to do anything else. So it's pretty important, obviously. So next up, we have output. And output mode is simple. We're just going to keep it simple. We're going to keep it easy, and that's the idea for getting your stream started. If you want to go into like craziness and get into some real advanced settings, you can do it later on, but we're going to do it pretty easy right now. So streaming, this option is where you get to set up your video bitrate and your audio bitrate. The video bitrate is the quality that you stream in. In this case, I have it set to 8,000. And the reason I've got it set to 8,000 is because I know what my upload rate is. But I'll show you how to do that right now. Upload rate is something that you need to determine beforehand. And what you do is you go to speedtest.net. And it'll show you, it's a really easy way to figure out what your download rate is and what your upload rate is. So I'll just run the test and it'll show you what I'm working with, because that's a good way to get started. So we'll begin the test. It'll find the nearest server to me, and then it'll show me my ping as well as my download rate and my upload rate. Chances are my download rate's probably going to be like 150, yeah, about 100, well, even better. It's going to be 160, 150-ish. Which is pretty good for where I'm at. But that doesn't matter as much for the stream, because what the important metric is your upload speed. And as a baseline, you want your upload speed to be about 5 megabits minimum. Anything less than that, you're kind of pushing the levels of quality. And yeah, so mine's currently sitting at around 10. And that's what that translates to in your OBS settings is 11.21, not bad. But what that translates to is I could probably set this to 10,000. But since I don't want to exceed my upload rate, I'm going to set it to 8. 8,000 sounds good. It's a megabit is roughly 1,000 bits. But it doesn't really matter. The conversion isn't super important. But yeah, so in order to stream properly, what you need to do is go to speedtest.net, test your connection rate, and then that'll help you determine what your upload rate, your bit rate is going to be. So that's how you figure that out. And then the second option, audio bitrate, is this is probably one of the easiest. you have a whole bunch of options. You don't want anything other than 160 because there's literally zero reason not to have the highest quality audio, and it doesn't affect your stream. Like, it's such a small concern. So just have it set to 160 and don't change it. Okay, so we go down to recording, and as I mentioned before in the prior video, I'm actually using OBS to record this video right now. And this is where you can set up where the recording is actually stored. In this case, I have it set in my my Manaverse Saga assets folder. The generate file name without a space, that's not really important. But this is where you get to choose the recording quality. In this case, I'm using indistinguishable because I want this recording to be high quality and I want the resolution to be roughly the same as what I'm seeing on screen. The format is MP4. There are other options, but MP4 is the most widely recognized. And if I want to upload to YouTube, MP4 is the one that they use. Otherwise, I'd have to convert it to something else. So it doesn't really matter. But recording format, easiest way to do it is MP4, and it's the most widely used. So just have it set to that. Encoder, software X264. That's just the default. I don't know if it really matters that much. That's the one that's there on its own at the beginning, so we'll just leave it and not do anything with it. You click apply to any settings that you may have changed. I didn't change anything, but I adjusted the bitrate. Recording is kind of used, like in the case of what we're going to be doing for streaming Magic or streaming board games and stuff. If you want to save the videos for later, which is generally speaking a great idea, because putting your videos on Twitch for live broadcasts is awesome, but you might as well, like if your system can handle it, you might as well double up and also upload your videos to YouTube later on, because why not? Having an archive in two different places is a great idea, but also it can double your audience. So yeah, that's why you want to record videos while you're streaming, and that's how you get it done. OBS can do it for you at the same time. Pretty sweet. So next option, audio. And this is where you set up your microphone and your input-output stuff. So the sample rate, 44.1 kilohertz. That's generally what you want. There's only two options. This is the easiest one, and I believe it's the default option, so we'll go with that. Channels, stereo or mono. Always pick stereo. There's no reason to choose mono. Yeah, there's no reason to choose mono. Desktop audio device. In this case, it's set to default because that is the default option. It's basically your output. So I have it set to output any audio to my speakers, in which case, like, that'd be game, music, all that stuff. Since we're doing streaming Magic tournaments or something like that, the audio device doesn't really matter because there's not going to be anything really coming out. It's all going to be microphones going in. And these are the options that we're going to be most concerned with here. And right now I'm using my audio device number one is my Rode Podcaster, and that's the microphone I'm using to record this video, but it's also the mic I use to record the podcast. So yeah, the other option I have is I also have the microphone set up for my Pro webcam C920, and that's if I wanted to use the webcam to record potentially the players' voices as well. It's an option, because that's the webcam that I recommend to record the actual gameplay. But it has a mic built in it. Right now I'm not using it. It's not super relevant. If you have more than one microphone, this is where you'd be filling that in. Right now they're set to disabled by default because OBS assumes you only have one mic. But if you're using the Blue Yeti like I recommend, then that's where that's going to show up. All this stuff, the push to mute, push to talk, you don't really need these. You don't. Like, we're going to leave them blank for now. They're kind of more of an advanced setup stuff. Next up is video. Render, we don't change anything. Video adapter, we don't change anything. Well, in this case, we don't change anything. But it will normally say whatever your video card is. The only things that really matter here are these two settings here. Base canvas resolution and output scaled resolution. Since I'm recording this video not live as a broadcast, I'm recording it in the same resolution as my monitor, which is 1920 by 1080. The reason I'm doing that is because I want the video to have the same quality resolution as what I'm seeing on screen. So I have both set to the same thing. For a stream, though, generally speaking, you want the output scaled down to 720p. So yeah, my natural resolution is 1080p. The output will be scaled down to 1280 by 720. And what that does is it'll make your stream a little bit smoother for people that don't have a great internet connection. Like if someone's using like a pretty my download rate was 150, which just means I could stream virtually anything, which is great. But if my download rate was like 10, and then I would have a pretty tough time streaming anything at all, especially at 1080p. By choosing to downscale your stream to a 720p resolution, it means that your stream will be smoother for people who don't have as fast a connection as you might potentially have. And it doesn't generally lose much in quality. So that's the reason that we downscale. Downscale filtering, you don't need to do anything with that. Don't worry about it. Common FPS, in our case, 30 frames per second is fine. Some streamers like to stream at 60, but that's really only if you're streaming, if you're streaming a computer game, maybe that's something you want to get into, but that also means that you're basically doubling the output of your computer and your stream. And if your computer can handle it, go for it, but 30 is totally fine for what we're working with here. Hotkeys, we basically don't need to change anything here because this is kind of like advanced settings. It's not super necessary. The only thing that you might want to consider is setting up a mute and unmute for your microphone, depending on sometimes a commentator might need to cough or take a drink of water or something. Might be a time where you might want to mute the mic, but you can set that up later if you want to do it yourself. The last thing that we need to care about is advanced settings, and for the most part, we're not going to be doing anything here. Buffering time, we don't change anything. Doesn't matter. It doesn't really affect us that much. We don't want a stream delay. Don't need to do anything here. This doesn't matter. And automatically reconnect is the only setting here that we do care about, but by default it's enabled, so you don't really need to worry about it. What it does is it automatically reconnects to your stream to Twitch in case your connection is broken. So it'll automatically retry 20 times every 10 seconds. This means that if your connection does go down for whatever reason, then OBS will automatically reconnect for you. You don't have to keep clicking the button or anything like that. You can just keep doing your thing, keep commentating, keep streaming, keep the tournament rolling, and the program will take care of it for you. Hopefully it does reconnect. Hopefully it's not a permanent problem. But if it's not, if it's just an intermittent kind of broken connection thing, then this is what solves that problem. So that's basically it for OBS settings. Everything else, it's largely speaking, everything that's set by default is great. You don't need to change that much. It's only a few things that you need to care about. And that's what we talked about. And on the topic of automatically reconnecting, I might as well mention this now. What you want to do for your stream is have your computer, whatever computer you're using to stream directly to the internet, have it hardwired into your router or your modem. Don't use Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is not necessarily 100% reliable, and it means that you might end up losing those connections. Like right now, I have my computer connected with an Ethernet cable directly into my modem, and that's the reason why my download rate was so high. If I were using Wi-Fi, it'd probably be maybe a third of what the download rate is. So having a hardwire connection it's more consistent, it's better quality, it's just better in general. So don't take chances, connect directly into your modem if you can. If you can't, you just got to make do with what you got. But generally speaking, for a stream, you want a hardwired connection. So do what you can to make that work. And that's pretty much it for settings for OBS. There's not really much else to talk about. Once you get your settings done and your stream key installed, there's a lot more to talk about. But that's all you need to do to get your settings ready to go. You don't need to change them afterwards. In the next video, we'll talk about creating the overlays and getting everything started. But until then, my name's Tom from Manaverse Saga. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will talk to you later.